All right guys, PPD here. Today I'm going to bring you a draft analysis from TI6. Today I'll be doing games versus newbie on the main stage, games 1 and 2. Let's get started. Okay, going into our games versus newbie, we were very confident. We felt like we were the better team and we weren't really too afraid of anything that they could throw at us. If there was anything that we were convinced that they could definitely beat us with, it was their draw ranger strategies. So in both of our games, it was definitely a priority to ban it. We also played draw, but we felt like it was better to just eliminate the hero and not really give them that opportunity to beat us with a draw strategy. So getting into the first game, we had first pick on Radiant. Almost every single team in this tournament, excluding I think Wings, chose Dire when first pick wasn't available. The awesome thing about first pick and why a lot of people really valued it, especially us, is because throughout the entire drafting phase, you had the ability to counterpick almost every single one of their heroes, except for obviously the last heroes. That's the benefit of having second pick, is that the second pick has the overall final pick of the game. So the very first pick of the game is great, but actually the second pick of the first phase is even better. With that second pick, you're able to pick a hero that can be countered, but then you immediately have two bans to kind of protect that hero. So that's kind of the advantage of having being in this situation. So getting into our drafts versus newbie, we were pretty surprised that they actually gave us Wisp. And throughout all of our mock drafts, we kind of expected them to ban this hero, but I believe that I guess they prepared some sort of strategy where they wanted to give us Wisp. So in a lot of other of our mock drafts, we didn't really pick this hero, but once we saw the Wisp, we kind of knew how to adjust and adapt to whatever they might pick going into the draft. So we picked Wisp, and then they immediately picked Elder Titan and Slardar. Elder Titan was a very strong hero for a lot of teams. Newbie, it wasn't really one of their top priorities. It was definitely one of our top priorities, but we also valued Wisp very highly, and we think that Wisp is a hero that gives your team the ability to kind of get on top of Elder Titan and kind of make him not as strong as he seems to be in most games. We second picked the Batrider, which is a hero that did relatively poorly at TI, mostly because a lot of teams figured out how to play against him and they played a lot of heroes that worked really well against him. But like I said, picking it in the second pick of the first phase, you're able to ban out heroes that work really well against him. And with our third ban of the game, we banned out Morphling because he's very strong versus both Wisp and Bat. Against Wisp because of his mobility, and then Bat because he's a natural Linken's carrier, and even if he does end up getting lassoed, he can just morph strength throughout the entire duration. They banned out Huskar. That's just a hero that I think they weren't incredibly comfortable playing, and also having Wisp and the Huskar combo is a combination that worked really well for most teams at TI. So they got rid of that, and then with their fourth ban, they banned out Ursa, which I think was a big mistake on their part. I think that Sven was almost certainly their ban. Sven is a hero that's very strong versus both Elder Titan and Slardar because he gives this team some unnatural armor with his Warcry ability, which most lineups generally don't have. And that's kind of where Elder Titan succeeds. It was when the enemy team is sitting around 0 to very little armor. With their third pick, they went for Shadow Demon, which oftentimes encourages, or we kind of suspected they would go for some sort of illusion-based lineup. It turns out they didn't do that, but that's generally why people pick Shadow Demon, because he has some very offensive and defensive capabilities, which makes him a really strong hero. With our third pick, following the Shadow Demon, we picked Winter Wyvern. We had already seen both their supports, and we thought that Winter Wyvern would be a relatively good hero. We were a bit concerned about our lack of team fight and our wave clear and our ability to deal with illusions, so we felt like Winter Wyvern would kind of give us some of these things, even if he was a bit weaker in lane. Following our Winter Wyvern pick, they picked up Slark, which was absolutely a comfort hero for How. It was relatively good this game. It works decently well against Wisp. It's okay versus Winter Wyvern, and it's very good against Batrider. So in that regard, it was an okay pick. But immediately after they picked Slark, we went for Storm Spirit, a hero that Slark generally struggles with. Their lineup didn't really have a ton of lockdown. Shadow Demon or Elder Titan have very limited lockdown, next to none against a hero like Storm Spirit, and their only disable at this point was a Slardar Crush. So Storm Spirit worked really well. Storm Spirit is a hero this patch that has a lot of flaws. He got a lot of nerfs, especially after TI5 when Samela kind of dominated that tournament with him. But he's a hero that requires an enabler, and there's a couple enablers in this game, and that's kind of what this patch was all about. It was picking heroes early that either enabled you to pick a large variety of heroes or disabling your opponents from picking a large variety of heroes. Wisp is a great enabler. He allows you to pretty much lane whatever hero you want mid, and you can constantly stack camps or refill your mid hero's bottle, or just help your mid hero regenerate with Wisp's bottle. So Wisp is absolutely an enabler for Storm Spirit. It kind of solves Storm Spirit's mana problems in the early game. With our last ban, we banned out Nyx Assassin. We knew that they needed a move hero, and Move hadn't played Nyx throughout the game, or throughout the entire tournament, so we weren't sure that they would pick it, but we were pretty certain that that was the best pick for them. We already had heroes like Wisp and Batrider and Storm Spirit, and Nyx would have presented a lot of problems for us. We weren't necessarily afraid of Mu's typical lane-winning heroes that he'd often played, such as like Viper, Razor, Death Prophet, because we knew that Zai was going to be mid on Wisp, helping Sumail throughout the entirety of the early game and making sure that a lane-winning hero couldn't really bully him out. With our last pick, we ended up getting Sven, which is the hero that we wanted throughout the entirety of the draft, and we kind of dangerously saved for our 5th and final pick. I'm not sure we had a great replacement, so maybe picking this hero a bit earlier would have been a smarter thing for us to do. There's just very, very limited heroes that you're able to play versus these supports such as Elder Titan and Shadow Demon, who are, like I mentioned earlier, are heroes that disable you from picking a lot of heroes in the pool. Elder Titan dissuades your team from picking any sort of agility carry because of his natural order, and Shadow Demon dissuades you from picking most melee carries because of his Demonic Purge, who's going to really kite your melee carry in team fights. Wisp kind of helps out versus, kind of helps the Sven against the Shadow Demon with the Purge. He gives him the movement speed, and you can relocate him around, so he has a bit more mobility, but at the end of the day, you still need to pick some hero, and there isn't always a perfect pick, and Sven seemed like the best option against heroes that reduced our armor, such as Slardar and Elder Titan. They last picked Dragonite, and we immediately felt confident in our draft. We just knew that our Storm Spirit was going to have a great game. He's going to be able to farm a lot and do a lot, and we knew that late game we would most likely be able to split them up and find the fights we wanted to take and be successful. The early game for us was quite sloppy. We made a lot of mistakes. We slipped in the early game and went down quite a bit, but once Wisp hit level 6 and Relocate came online, the game became very simple for us, and there was a straightforward path to victory. All right, guys, going into game 2, we have the second pick, and therefore, obviously, we decided to go with a different opener. The advantage of having second pick is that you have the overall last pick of the game. In almost every scenario, we generally thought it was best, and we tried to have this hero be the hero that was going to win us the game. So with our bans, we went with the standard Drow ban, and we also banned Batrider because it's a hero they really like to play, and also we were worried about him being picked in the second slot, similarly to what we had done in the first game. We were not afraid of getting them Elder Titan, and we were generally pleased when we saw that they were leaving it through when they first picked Oracle. This was awesome. We got to immediately grab one of our favorite combos in the Elder Titan and Void. It's a great opener for us. It gives you plenty of team fight, it gives you lockdown, and it kind of dissuades your enemies from picking a ton of heroes, which is exactly what we want to do with our first 2 picks in a game. They second picked Alchemist, and at this point our assumptions were correct that the Chinese teams were absolutely sharing scrim results. Alchemist was a hero that we had yet to win a game with in the entire tournament, and it wasn't really our strong suit, but in between the group stages and the main event, we made sure that we practiced our Alchemist, and we scrimmed against Vici Reborn and picked Alchemist in both of our games, where we had Sumail practice the battle build Alchemist similarly to what Miracle was playing earlier in the year, and we had a ton of success, and it felt super strong, and it worked really, really well with our playstyle. So heading into the second phase, they immediately banned Ancient Apparition to protect their Alchemist, and then we banned Ogre, who would help them secure their lanes. Then they banned Huskar, a hero who has lots of success against Alchemists, and just seemed like a hero that they weren't generally comfortable playing with or against. We banned Nyx, which was a KPII classic hero and a vision hero who would be good at disrupting our Elder Titan in fights. The third pick of the game, oftentimes the hardest pick. You don't generally get a lot of new information based on their first 2 picks and their first 4 bans, and you still want to protect your mid and carry heroes from being counterpicked, so you kind of just want to blindly pick a support in this position. A lot of times it can be dangerous to pick a support here because you are oftentimes susceptible to having your lanes exposed by a hero like Chen or Enchantress if your support heroes are incapable of dealing with their roaming. They went for Sand King, which was a really good pick for them. He lanes incredibly well versus Void and is very good against any sort of illusion-based lineup that our lineup kind of predicted based on us having both Shadow Demon and Elder Titan. With our fourth pick, we secured Sumail's Timbersaw. Timber was a hero who at this point in this tournament we were convinced was just broken. He was just too strong in our opinions. Even if there were counter picks in the game, we always felt his strength, whether he was on our team or we were fighting against him. Immediately after our Timbersaw pick, they responded with Skywrath, who is probably the best support hero against Timbersaw, but we were still confident that Sumail would have a great game and be able to do a lot of things for us. With their fifth ban, they eliminated Terrorblade, which I don't think is a hero we would have picked in this position. TB is pretty tough against Sand King at all stages of the game. We banned Ursa, which similarly to the first game, it was a hero that Hao had yet to play, and we weren't convinced that Newbie would pick it, but we also believe that it just was their best pick, and we would rather them play a comfort hero that was weak than something new that would give us problems throughout the game. They last picked Lifestealer, and immediately we were confident and we knew that our pick was Morphling. Morph worked great for us in this game because as long as we were able to stall the game out late enough, we knew that our Morphling plus Shadow Demon combo would kind of outcarry anything that Newbie could throw at us. Big shout out to AMD for supporting all things Evil Geniuses. If you guys are at home building your own PCs, make sure you guys do your research and check out AMD's CPUs and GPUs. They have a great reputation for high performance per dollar, PPD for short, on all their video cards and processors, so make sure you guys check them out.